Excel VBA, creating a secure user login system for collaborative projects, part 2. Welcome back. If you are watching this video, that means you already built the login system with me in part 1. Great job. Now things get even more interesting because today we are taking that login system and turning it into a full role-based access control system. In this part, we are answering one very important question. Who sees what's inside the Excel workbook? Here is the goal. The admin gets access to all the worksheets in the workbook. User 1 can only access the editor sheets. User 2 can access only the user sheet. User 3 on the other hand can access only the report sheet. And going forward, a new user can be assigned to a specific worksheet automatically. Let's recap quickly what we already have. We already have a login user form that contains a username and password validation, and also a system that locks and unlocks the workbook. So we are not rebuilding anything from scratch. We are simply adding intelligence to what happens after login. The core idea behind this worksheet-based access is that instead of giving everyone access to everything, we let Excel decide who logged in, what role they have, and which worksheet they are allowed to see. Every other sheet remains hidden, logged, and protected. This is important because the admin is the only one allowed to manage data, add new users, assign worksheet access, and maintain the system. Let's examine the logic behind the roles. Let's start with the admin. When the admin logs in, every worksheet in the workbook becomes visible for the admin, and all protections are removed. This means that the admin has full control of the workbook. This is important because the admin is the only one allowed to 1. Manage data, add new users, assign worksheet access, and maintain the system. User 1 on the other hand is not an admin, so they should not see every worksheet. They should not be able to access the admin data. When user 1 logs in, only the editor sheet becomes visible, and every other sheet is hidden. Even if they know Excel tricks, they can't bypass it. User 2 also follows the same rule. When user 2 logs in, only the user sheet becomes visible. Everything else stays hidden and protected. This keeps the workbook clean, safe, and professional. User 3 will be given access to view the report sheet alone. Here's the powerful part. This system is not limited to just 2 or 3 users. Any future user can be added like this. A username is assigned to them. A worksheet name is assigned to them, and Excel handles the rest automatically. And there's no need to rewrite any code, and there's no duplication of any logic, just a clean, scalable design. This is what happens behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, Excel is doing 3 main things. When the workbook opens, all the worksheets are logged automatically by default. Then Excel checks who logged in before unlocking and showing only the worksheets assigned to that user. If the user is an admin, everything opens. If not, Excel becomes selective. Why this role-based access control sheet matters in real-life projects. This is extremely useful for payroll systems, school management workbooks, checks or NGO records, office collaboration projects, and any Excel system shared by multiple people. Everyone can work on the same file, but no one sees what they shouldn't see. And this is a very important security tip. VBA security is powerful but not magic. Always protect your VBA project with a password. Disable all worksheet unprotected buttons and store login data securely. This keeps your system professional and trustworthy. At this point, your workbook can automate users, identify their roles, control worksheet visibility, scale to multiple users, and protect sensitive data. That's no longer just Excel. That's a real application. Let's go through the lines of code and see what is being used behind this logic. Let's now look at the code behind the login button. We declared these variables. dim ws as worksheet, dim last row as long, dim I as long, dim username as string, dim password as string, dim login success as boolean. The user's worksheet was used to store the username, password, and rows. This worksheet must be hidden from users. Username is equal to tst username, and password is also equal to tst password. To make sure that the username and password fields are not left empty, we added this validation to check that if these fields are empty, then you'll be prompted with this message. Please enter both username and password. Anytime a user tries to log into the system, his or her credentials are checked by looping through the user sheet to determine what role they have before granting access to that user by using this loop. For I is equal to 2 to last row, if ws.cell i1.value is equal to username and ws.cell i2 and value is equal to password, then login success should be true. And logged in user should be equal to username. Login row should be equal to ws.cell i3.value. And allow sheet is equal to ws.cells i4, and if and then next I. So if the login success is equal to true, then failed attempt will be equal to 0, and then the logged in user will be greeted with this message: logged in successful, welcome, and then the logged in user. Then it will call on the unlock workbook by row. Then the worksheet is open for the user and the logged in form disappear. This is made possible by calling on the unlock workbook by row model. If the username and password entered is not correct, then a failed attempt message is displayed for the user. And you'll get this message: invalid username or password. And you'll be prompted with this failed attempt count. And this will let you know the number of time that is left for you to log into the system. If upon trying to log into the system fails for 3 consecutive times, then the workbook will be closed after 3 failed attempts. With this, we will get this workbook.save application.quit, and if. Let's take a quick walk through the model. I've added these variables to the model. So we have public failed attempt as integer, public logged in user as string, public logged in row as string, and public allow sheet also as string. The log workbook stays the same, just as we had earlier on. So we have din ws as worksheet. For each ws in this workbook.worksheet, ws.visible is equal to Excel very hidden, next ws. We also protected our worksheets with this password 123. For the unlock workbook part, this is where some few changes were made to the code. So I have public sub unlock workbook by row. Dim ws as worksheet. This workbook unprotects equal to the password we entered here. The first thing we have to do is to hide every worksheet when the workbook opens. So I have this: for each ws in the workbook.sheet, ws.visible is equal to Excel very hidden, next ws. Now let's check the login by row. If the person logging in is an admin, then if logged in row is equal to admin, then for each ws in this workbook, ws.visible is equal to Excel sheet visible. This line of code makes all the worksheets in the workbook available for the admin. If the user is a non-admin, then this workbook.sheet into bracket allow sheet.visible will be Excel sheet visible. This line of code here keeps the user sheets always hidden. The next part is to go into this workbook and make some calls. In the workbook open event, let's make these calls. Failed attempt will be equal to 0. And let's save our workbook and close it. Now let's open the workbook to see what we have done so far. First off, we are going to check if a user attempts to open the workbook but do not have the correct username or password, and see what happens. So let me click admin and enter password. Let's look at the message: invalid username or password, attempt 1 out of 3. Let me also write something else, since I'm guessing the password. Now I've made 2 wrong attempts. Let me now make another attempt and try to log in. This is the message that I'm getting: attempt 3 out of 3. So let me click on OK. And I have a further message that says too many failed attempts, workbook will close. This means that if the user do not have the correct credentials, he or she will not be allowed to use the workbook. When I click OK, this is what happened. the workbook closed. Let me open it once again. This time around, let me enter the username as admin once again and enter the correct password. And this is the message that you'll be greeted with: login successful, welcome admin. And watch what will happen to the worksheets as soon as I click on OK. You can see that all the worksheets contained in the workbook have been opened for me. So I have the editor, the user, the report, the sheet 5, sheet 6, sheet 1 and others. So let me close it once again, save and close. Let me open the workbook as user 1 and enter the password. Click on and this is the message that I'll get: login successful, welcome user 1. Click OK. Only the editor sheet have been made visible for user 1. The rest of the sheet remains locked. Let's exit the program. And this time around, we are going to log in as user 2. And with the password, let's log in. Login successful, welcome user 2. And this time around, you can see that only the user sheet have been allowed for the user. Finally, let's log in as user 3. So with user 3 and password is, click on login and login successful, welcome user 3. So we see that the worksheet that has been assigned to user 3 will be opened and made visible. Remember that when the workbook opens, this is what happens: all the worksheets are logged by default. Then Excel checks who logged in before unlocking and showing only the worksheets assigned to the user. If the user is an admin, everything opens. If not, Excel becomes selective. If you found this useful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe and share it with someone who still thinks Excel can't do real systems. In the next bonus video, we will take this even further by creating a dashboard for this login system, activity tracking and user management. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye for now.